Tommy. What is it?
Terry's come home.
Terry? Come home? When? Where is he?
He got home just a few minutes ago. He's in the kitchen with Mom. He came in the back way so he could talk to Mom first. He wants to stay.
Stay? But why didn't he come in here to see me?
He's afraid, Dad.
Afraid? Why should he be afraid of his own father?
Well, you remember, he said one time that he might run away someday, and you told him if he ever did, he needn't come back.
Well, I know. But he's been gone for 2 years now. We were in the truth only 1 year when he left. And besides, we were both angered when he threatened to go. I didn't think he meant it. Did you tell him we've missed him? Did you tell him we tried to do everything we could to find him?
I didn't want to speak in your place, Dad. Would you see him? Would you talk to him?
Why, of course I'll talk to him. He's my son, isn't he?
John, when you talk to Terry, please try to remember he's had a very harrowing experience.
It hasn't been too easy for us either, you know.
He's very upset, and he's still just a boy. He's only 19 years old.
And don't forget, he was 17 when he ran away. But he thought he was a man then. What's changed his idea now?
Oh, John, you always were too hard on Terry.
And you were always too permissive, Mary. You spoiled the boy by giving in to him. You would never back me up when I tried to give him a right direction.
He was only 16 when you began to study. He already had ideas of his own as to what he thought was right. You can't change those things overnight.
Not if you're going to coddle him the way you did.
The Bible says we must be merciful. After all, Terry was never disfellowshipped. There was never anything he did that anyone could actually accuse him of.
No, that's true. But he certainly did stir up enough trouble in the congregation.
I'm sure he meant no harm by it, John.
I know you think that. And that's one thing that's always contributed to our problem. You could never see the wrong in anything that Terry did. But let's not start an argument between ourselves, Mary. This is no way to welcome our son home. This should be a happy occasion. Bring him in, Tommy. Don't leave him out in the kitchen by himself.
I'll call him, Dad.
Now, Mary, I know you were trying to say something. What's really on your mind?
It's only that, well, Terry looks different. I'm afraid you're in for a shock, John.
Oh, that bad, huh? Well, I'm glad to have Terry home once more, but if he expects to become a member of this family again, he's going to have to realize
John,
that...
please, don't be too hard on him.
Hello, Dad.
Well, hello, Terry. Welcome home, son. How have you been?
Okay.
We missed you.
I know. Mom said.
Did you get enough to eat?
Sure.
You don't look very well.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, what I meant was, you look thinner. You look as though you might not be well. But now that you put it like that, have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? You were unkempt looking enough before, but now... How could you disgrace your mother by coming into the house looking like that?
Please, John, try to be understanding. Terry doesn't look nearly as bad as some of the boys that you see on the street.
No. At least his hair isn't all the way down to his shoulders, and he doesn't have a beard. But that could be because he may not be old enough.
You haven't changed, have you, Dad?
Now, look, Terry. We're very happy to have you home again. But that can't change my view as to what is right and decent. I never could, nor can I now, believe that anyone who looks and acts like a hippie could really be a true Christian at heart.
Maybe that's what makes Tommy such a model publisher, eh, Dad?
Now, that's enough, Terry. Tommy came in here a moment ago and told me that you'd returned home and that you wanted to stay. When you were away, I looked forward to this day. But the way you've been acting ever since you walked into this room, you've certainly not given me any reason to be glad you're back.
How do you know what I feel? I mean really feel.
Well, that's pretty evident, isn't it? Did you come home with the intention of remaining here?
Sure, I thought about it. But I guess with all the rough spots I've been through in the last 2 years, I'd sort of forgotten how tough you can make it on a fella.
Have you forgotten, too, how tough you made it on Tommy and the rest of us? Do you think we're ready to go through that all over again? You left home of your own free will. Why now do you want to come back?
Maybe I made a mistake. Would you be willing to accept that?
If I thought you meant it, what makes you think you may have?
Most of the people that I ran into were, well, just no good.
If you associate with no goods, what do you expect to find?
You're not making it any easier, Dad.
Is there any reason why I should?
I'm sure you wouldn't think so.
You ran away after you caused all kinds of trouble for us as a family. You've been away for 2 years. Who knows where? Doing who knows what. You might even be a drug addict for all I know.
Oh, John!
Can you say positively that he isn't? How do you know? Are you?
Of course not.
But you have taken drugs, haven't you?
Yes, I experimented once, but I didn't like it. I hallucinated. It scared me. And I realized what the only outcome could be, so I couldn't do it anymore.
You've done all those things, and yet you expect us just to accept you back, no questions asked.
I didn't say you couldn't ask questions, but I guess I thought you might be a little more merciful than you are.
Mercy is extended to those who deserve it.
Well, Tommy's willing to let bygones be bygones.
Tommy is just a boy.
I'm 17, Dad, but I have no hard feelings toward Terry.
But look at you now, Terry. Do you think you could go down to the Kingdom Hall looking the way you do? Are you willing to attend the meetings again? Do you really want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses?
I honestly do, Dad. I know that in all the time I was gone, somehow I couldn't ignore what you taught me about stealing and fornication and things like that. Others were doing those things, but I couldn't. But how can I be sure that I can make it? I thought I was trying before.
You've had long enough to make up your mind. We've been in the truth for about 3 years now, and I've been trying hard to make progress for us as a family in the ministry. I feel reasonably sure that very soon I may qualify as a ministerial servant. But with you back now, looking the way you do and acting the way you do, I'm sure I could never even be recommended for such a position.
Oh, John, what a selfish way of looking at it.
My mind is made up, Mary. I'm very glad to see Terry home again. But he's going to have to give evidence that he really is living up to the dedication that he once made. As far as I'm concerned, that settles the matter. It's finished.
Dad, could I suggest something?
What is it, Tommy?
Do you remember how we used to read the Bible together and study?
It never seemed to do Terry any good.
Huh, that's a laugh. We were supposed to have a study every week, but generally it amounted to just about once a month, if that.
Well, it's true. There were things that interfered. Maybe we let them. I don't know. But I know even when we did, it didn't help you.
But I was thinking, Dad, that maybe we could read the Bible now, again. You know, as a family. That is, if Terry would be willing.
Sure, why not? I never complained about our studies.
All right.
Could you read us here?
Genesis, the 37th chapter?
Yes, and some more.
All right. Genesis chapter 37. And Jacob continued to dwell in the land of the alien residences of his father, in the land of Canaan. This is the history of Jacob. Joseph, when 17 years old, happened to be tending sheep with his brothers among the flock. And being but a boy, he was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, the wives of his father. So Joseph brought a bad report about them to their father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all his other sons, because he was the son of his old age, and he had a long, striped, shirt-like garment made for him. When his brothers came to see that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they began to hate him, and they were not able to speak peacefully to him. Later on, Joseph had a dream and told it to his brothers, and they found further reason to hate him. And he went on to say to them,
How can you say, Reuben, that Joseph is now trying to find favor in the eyes of Jacob? Has not Jacob shown all the years of Joseph's life that he loves him more than all of us, his other sons?
It's true, my brother, that Israel loves Joseph more than all of us. But is he not the son of his old age?
Joseph is not a fool, Reuben, but you are. You would do well to listen. That's right.
Oh, Levi, you and Simeon both speak out of your hatred and animosity. You're far too quick to accuse and to speak evil.
Remember, Reuben, my brother,
The right of firstborn takes with it a double portion of Israel's inheritance.
Judah, you are the fourth in line. What can you say to Reuben in regard to Joseph?
Am I God that I can look into Joseph's heart, my brother? But from all outward appearances...
See for yourself, Reuben. Why did Israel make for Joseph a long striped shirt-like garment? Is it not because he's stolen your place in the heart of our aged father? I am the fifth son of Israel, and if Joseph for one...
You speak out of resentment, Dan. You still smart from the bad report that Joseph brought to our father about you and Naphtali and the sons of Zilpah when you happened to be with him tending the sheep. You were taking advantage of your own father.
Oh, you are a fool,
Issachar. Would you bow before Joseph? Would you uphold this ambitious dreamer of dreams and ask all of us and you yourself to get down on our knees before Joseph?
Speak, Issachar. What would you say?
Are you ready to bow, Issachar? So quickly what Joseph has just related to us? How he came upon us and then went on to say to us, listen, please, to this dream that I have dreamed. Well, here we were binding sheaves in the middle of the field when here my sheaf got up and stood erect. And here your sheaves proceeded to encircle and bow down to my sheaf. Ha! Only in the dream-filled mind of Joseph would my sheaf ever bow down to his.
Levi, are you also convinced that Joseph's dream is just a scheme to exalt himself before us?
I know not what Joseph dreams or does not dream. All I know is what Joseph has said and how our father Israel favors him. That long striped shirt-like garment of his, that to me is sufficient cause to resist him. To resist to any degree that may be called for.
What are you suggesting, Levi?
Only that sometime, someplace.
Instruments of violence are your slaughter weapons, Levi. Would you do to him as you did to the men of Shechem, whom you fell upon and annihilated when they were defenseless and unsuspecting?
And what had they done, Judah?
One man dies.
Simeon, Levi, think what you're saying. Your anger is cruel and your fury acts harshly. It was injustice that we acted. But Joseph is our brother. It is not as it was with Shechem, who violated our sister Dinah. What cause do you have to seek Joseph's life? Do you not know that as the firstborn, I'm responsible for his care? You speak strongly in defense of your right as firstborn when you fear the obligation it places upon you.
And you took upon yourself great authority in profaning your father's bed, to lie down with my mother, Bilhah.
Our patience is strained to the limit, Reuben. Act now, or those of us who are next in line will certainly not wait upon you. Naphtali, must you always be running and jumping?
Issachar, my brother, you strong-boned bearer of burdens, see that your resting place is good and that your land is pleasant.
I never can understand what you're saying.
Aha! Joseph, my brother. Bow before Joseph, my brothers. See, Joseph has arrived.
And what have you to say now, Joseph? Do you bring us commands that we should obey? Or perhaps do you have another dream to tell us?
Please, my brothers, can we not be at peace?
Peace, you say? What do you know of peace? You've fallen upon our father to turn his heart away from us and then pretend that all is well.
Believe me, Simeon, I mean you no harm. But what I dream, and I'm impelled to relate to you my dream.
Is that also why you ran to our father with a bad report when you were with us tending the sheep?
Jehovah it is who sees and renders an accounting, Asher. Could I stand before him guiltless if I'd consented with you in your sin against our father? See for yourself, Judah, and you, Reuben. Examine the matter and discern in your own understanding. Was the report that I made to our father untrue? Answer me, please, Judah, to clear me of the accusation or to condemn me. In your honesty before Jehovah, did I lie to our father about our brothers? You did not lie, Joseph. Your error and the bone of contention is that you spoke up so quickly to expose your brothers with whom you were assigned.
And to take to yourself a responsibility that would exalt you over.
Simeon, how can I merit greater responsibilities if I do not properly discharge those that are already mine? We are all brothers, sons of the one man Israel, to whom we are all responsible. And a sin against our Father is no less a sin simply because it is not brought to light. What I see. And what is wrong before Jehovah and contrary to our Father's interests, this I must speak out.
Then you must take upon your own head the consequences for your own outspokenness.
But what of your dream, Joseph? How do you interpret this? Our she is all bowing down to your sheaf. Does this also show the oneness and the unity that is ours? All 12, the sons of the one man Israel, to whom we are all responsible?
Yes, Joseph. What of your dream? Give us the interpretation.
And if you can, dreamer.
How can I demand of God what he has not yet revealed? Interpretations belong to God, but thus far only the 2 dreams has he given.
2 dreams? But you have related to us only one.
Have you indeed dreamed another dream, Joseph?
You have said it, my brother.
Aha! Another dream. You hear, my brothers? Our beloved brother Joseph has dreamed another dream. Tell us your dream, Joseph, that we might share your joy with you.
If you have something to tell us, Joseph, then tell us.
What do you have to say now? Your dream.
It seems, our father, that Joseph has dreamed another dream.
Have you indeed, my son? And what is this dream that you have dreamed? Tell us, please.
It was very much like the other, my father.
Like the other? I thought as much. You'd have us believe the second, since we cannot accept the first. True. That's what we do.
Speak, Joseph, my son. Tell us, please, your dream.
Very well, Father. Here I have indeed had a dream once more. And here I saw in the heavens the sun and the moon and 11 stars. And as I stood there, why look! The sun and the moon and the 11 stars all were bowing down to me.
Just like the other dream. They're bowing to you. Imposter, dreamer. You have not heard the last of this, my ambitious brother. Even the stars would bow to him. And the sun and the moon. Fools, he must think we are. Get us bowing to dream.
Joseph, my son, you're but a lad. I have shown you favor because you are the son of my old age and because of your mother Rachel, whom I loved very much. But what does this dream that you have dreamed mean? Am I and also your mother and your brothers for certain going to come and bow down to the earth to you? Take care, my son. Take care. The way of the presumptuous one is a difficult road, and one fraught with many adversities.
I know that, my father. But I do not take upon myself what I have not received from Jehovah. What I have dreamed, I have dreamed. I rely upon your God, and the God of Isaac and of Abraham. As to the meaning of my dreams, I cannot say. I can only tell you what it is that came to be the visions of my head upon my bed.
I know, my son, I know. The ways of Jehovah are indeed strange. But, well, we shall see. We shall see.
The next scene is with the family of the sons near Dothan, and Joseph has been sent by his father to see how they are.
What are you looking for? It's my brothers I'm looking for. They're 10 brothers from Hebron, and they're tending their sheep. I've followed them from Shechem since I've heard that they're here in the field of Dothan. My father became concerned for their welfare, and so he said to me, "Go, please, see whether your brothers are safe and sound, whether the flock is safe and sound, and bring me back word." So here I am. Tell me, please, where are they tending their flocks?
The men you are seeking are on the other side of the hill, down in the valley. Look now, you must go out this way and down beyond the trees, and then you must turn and come up the valley. And there on the side of the hill, you'll see your brothers. sun is well up. The others should be along soon for the noon meal.
Peace, brothers. Aha, Issachar, my brother. Must you always be prancing around Naphtali, my brother? Jehovah is making fruit to go forth from the earth, and wine that makes the heart of mortal man rejoice. Your words are strange, Naphtali. Why can you not speak like other men? You should try speaking more yourself, Issachar. Look, the dreamer.
The dreamer? You mean Joseph has come? Why should he come from Hebron?
Has he come just to spy on us again?
It is Joseph. He has indeed come.
Could
it be news of Israel that he brings?
News indeed. He has come to spy on us and to carry back another bad report.
This is the time that we've waited for. Look, now he's alone here in the wilderness.
Kill him and pitch him into one of the water.
No, my brother, no. This is an evil thing that you speak. Let us not strike it so fatally.
Kill the dreamer.
Would you then bow before Joseph? Would you have him tell more of his dreams until he's completely turned Israel away from us? No, my brothers. We must certainly kill him and have done his dreams. Brothers. How do you think we can convince our father?
Listen, my brothers. Hear my plan. We will certainly strip his shirt-like coat from off him and slaughter a male goat and repeatedly dip the long garment in the blood and send it back to our father.
It is the way we can tell him. Examine, please, whether it's your son's long garment or not. Certainly, Israel will believe that a vicious wild beast must have devoured you.
He will believe that Joseph has surely been torn to
Do not spill blood.
Kill him now.
See here. Pitch him into the water pit, which is in the wilderness. And do not lay a violent hand upon it. Quiet, Reuben. Now's the time is getting close. Scatter out, brothers. Don't make him suspicious.
May you have peace, my brothers.
Peace, he says. You will have peace. May you sleep long and well, Joseph. You dreamer, have you come to spy?
What you dreaming now, Joseph?
Take back to Israel.
What do we do with you, Joseph?
Back to the tent of your father.
Please, my brothers, I bring you peace.
You're lying. It is to spy upon us that you have come. You come just to take back a bad report, dreamer.
Do you not remember what we did to the men of Shechem?
Remember, Joseph?
Think we would hold back our hand from you?
What of Jacob, our father? Do not do this bad thing, my brothers, and bring down the gray hairs of our father.
Stand by how our father
feels.
I say kill him. Pitch him out of the water pit.
Reuben, you're the firstborn. Will you stand idly?
Brothers, no. Let us not strike it so fatally. This is an evil
Kill him.
Then we'll let the dreamer die for his dream.
Strike him down.
Brothers.
I still say we should kill him.
Do not
And let us
strike
see what will become of his dream.
No, my brothers, no. Do not spill blood.
He must
Let us
die.
pitch him into the water pit, and then we can decide what we
Wait.
will do.
Kill him
Bread,
now.
And then we can know what is best in this matter.
This is no time to eat.
Is what we
Now.
Stand.
Wait.
You too, grab
My brothers, listen to me. Brothers. Wait. Listen to
Let
Joseph.
Joseph speak.
Have you no love for our father Israel? Or for Jehovah, the God of Jacob and of Isaac?
Only you love
Why do you
Joseph
persist
yourself.
in seeking my life? What have I done? And what badness is there in my hand?
know.
Do not let my blood fall to the earth before Jehovah. For as Jehovah lives, I have no animosity in my
Would
heart.
you soften the heart of your sweet words, self-righteous attitude? Enough! Get rid of him! Here's a dry water pit. Pitch him in here.
Pitch him into the water
Pitch
pit.
your dream from the bottom of the water pit. Have done with him. Now we'll be rid of him.
He thought he would rule over us.
Strip off his long garment.
Straight garment off him.
Grab him by the feet.
All right.
Here,
Take
my
this
this
arm.
Into the water pit.
My brothers, shall I relate to you?
Out of the way,
Please,
my brothers, for the love of our father Israel, do not do this bad thing.
Into the water pit.
Go into the water pit.
Now we'll have done with his dream.
Perhaps now Israel will turn his heart away from the impostor. What shall we do with him now, Judah?
We can't leave him here to starve.
Why not kill him?
Why, my brother?
Done with it.
Let's sit down and eat bread, and then we'll know what's best to do.
Why, I still think we should kill him now. Why wait?
All right. There's still time. Judah, Reuben, and you, Gad. The dreamer's calling out to us.
Do you have another dream to tell us?
Look, there's a caravan traveling on the road to Egypt.
Where?
Over there. Beyond the trees. It looks like an Ishmaelite caravan.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, would you buy something from the Issachar?
Brothers, listen to me. What
profit would there be in case we killed Joseph and did cover over his blood?
What profit? Why, we'll be rid of the dreamer.
This is the time we've been waiting for. Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and do not let our hand be upon him. After all, he is our brother, our flesh.
Sell him?
Why not, Simeon? Let's sell him.
You speak well, Judah. Why should his blood come to be upon our heads? We'll sell him to the Ishmaelites. Naphtali, you are the one that is fleet of foot. Run to the Ishmaelites. Tell them we have business with them. Well, at least we'll be rid of him.
And he'll be as good as dead.
Good.
Come, now we'll draw Joseph up out of the water pit so that we might sell him to the traders.
Come, Issachar, over to the water pit.
That's right, sell him. I'll get a good price.
Bring me the rope that's there on the ground by my staff.
Here it is.
Here, throw in the rope.
Put the rope under your armpit, you dreamer. Under your armpit.
Now pull him out when I say pull. Pull.
Yeah,
Pull.
He comes.
Here he comes. Pull. Pull. Gad, Issachar, grab him under the armpit.
No, I got it.
Easy, easy.
There he is.
Grab his arm.
Now bring him over the ledge. Here, loosen the rope.
Don't let him go. Look, here come the merchants. Now, brothers, let me deal with them.
Very well, Asher. You talk to them.
Ah, may you have peace, my brothers. This, your brother has told us that you have business with us.
You are merchants on your way to Egypt?
It is even so. See now, I am your servant, Abida, of the house of Midian, and here is Nebaioth of the family of Ishmael. Look, we are coming from Gilead, and our camels are carrying laudanum and balsam and resinous bark on our way to take it down to Egypt.
And how is it that we may serve you, my brothers? See, we have a slave for you.
A slave, you say? And who is he? And where is he from?
Oh, never mind. He'll bring you a good price in Egypt.
No, my brothers, no. Do not do this bad thing.
Quiet,
Not
dreamer.
for my sake, but for the sake of our father Israel.
What's our father have to do with this?
Do not bring his gray hairs down to Sheol in mourning. Have mercy, my brothers.
Merciful,
Mercy.
The one that would rule over us.
He's young. He's just a boy.
Why, of course he's young. Are you buying toothless old men for slaves, Midianite? But see how strong he is, and he has spirit.
The men of Canaan are not well thought of in Egypt. I don't know.
Come now, see for yourself that he's no Canaanite. You well know that Syrian slaves are highly valued in Egypt. He'll be a prince among slaves. Just look at him.
Well, perhaps for 10 silver pieces.
10 silver pieces? Come, friend, you'd make us a laughing stock. He'll bring you 40 silver pieces. The nobles of Egypt will outbid each other.
Very well. 20 pieces of silver, no more.
Are you agreed, my brothers?
What have you done, my brothers?
With me.
What have you done?
We've sold you, that's what we've done.
Jehovah it is who will repay to each one his own righteousness and his own faithfulness, and that I have not sought any evil at all.
You even have our father bow to you.
And just as your souls have been great in my eyes, so may my soul be great in the eyes of Jehovah, that he may deliver me out of all distress.
Maybe Israel will favor us instead of us.
Along there.
Time moves on now for a further 11 years. We take up the scene with the chief of the bakers and Pharaoh's cupbearer in prison.
How long do you think we'll be confined to this prison house, O Neferes?
Only the gods can say, Toppanor. You may have been the chief of Pharaoh's bakers, and I was the chief of his cupbearers, but what Pharaoh has done to us is just in putting us here in this prison house. You well know that we both sinned against
You may say that, O Neferes. You even admitted guilt to Pharaoh. But I? What have I done? I've committed no sin against Pharaoh.
Don't be a fool. You know you were guilty, and it was proved before Pharaoh that you were. Why deny it any longer?
But what do you think Pharaoh will do with us? Is he going to continue to keep us here in this pest house forever?
It's in the hands of the gods.
Perhaps Joseph will know. I'll ask him when he comes.
How could Joseph know? He's a prisoner here the same as you and I.
I know that, but the chief officer of the prison house has given over into Joseph's hand all the prisoners were in the prison house, and the chief of Pharaoh's bodyguard himself assigned Joseph to be with us, so that he might wait upon us. Perhaps Joseph can tell us.
I wouldn't count too strongly on that, Toppanor. You know that it is because of Potiphar that Joseph himself is in this prison, and he didn't fare so well at first. They put fetters upon him.
I know. Can you imagine that one? So innocent looking, and yet...
You're a fool, Toppanor. Everyone knows that Joseph is not the guilty one. Why, every servant in the house of
That
Potiphar...
may well be, but Potiphar had him thrown into jail, and after he had appointed Joseph over all his house too, so that all that was his he gave into his hand.
Joseph is a good man, Toppanor. He's a Hebrew, and he worships the God Jehovah. The chief of the prison house says it is because Jehovah his God has blessed him, that he's prospered in everything. That is, except his being thrown into this prison. But even those who are exalted can be brought
Oh,
low.
I know, Anephares. Here I was, the chief of the bakers, and now I'm reduced to these sore straits. Oh, how I wish we could get out of this place. Grief is in my heart all day, and last night I dreamed a dream, and now there is no one to interpret it for me.
You dreamed a dream? But so did I. And my dream, too, has me troubled. I've thought of little else this morning since I awoke from off my bed. But now, who is there that can interpret our dreams so that we can know the meaning of them?
Oh, if only Pharaoh would release us from this place.
It's in the hands of the gods.
In the hands of the gods.
You have peace, Oniphares. And you, Toppanor. May your day prosper, Joseph. Here is bread for you this morning. You must indeed be hungry. For what reason are your faces gloomy today?
Oh, Joseph, we both dreamed a dream. And now, what are we to do? There's no interpreter with us.
It is even so, Joseph, and we are troubled by our dreams. Do not interpretations belong to God? Relate to me your dreams, please. Here, then, is my vision of the head upon my bed. In my dream, why, here there was a vine before me, and on the vine there were 3 twigs, and it was apparently sprouting shoots. Its blossoms pushed forth, and its clusters ripened their grapes, and Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. And I proceeded to take the grapes and squeeze them out into Pharaoh's cup. After that, I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand.
That is your dream, Oniphares? It is a strange dream indeed. What have you to say, Joseph?
This is its interpretation. The 3 twigs are 3 days. In 3 days from now, Pharaoh will lift up your head, and he will certainly return you to your office. And you will certainly give Pharaoh's cup into his hand, according to the former custom when you acted as his cupbearer. You have lightened my day, Joseph. It's an omen of goodwill for me. Nevertheless, you must keep me in your remembrance as soon as it goes well with you. And you must please perform loving kindness with me and mention me to Pharaoh. And you must get me out of this house. For I was in fact kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews. Lo, these 11 years now. And here also I have done nothing at all for which they should put me in the prison hole. If it does indeed come about even as you have said, I shall certainly mention you to Pharaoh, for I know you're innocent of the charge that has been brought against you.
But what about me, Joseph? I too dreamed a dream. Tell me the interpretation of my dream. Perhaps I too will be released, even as Onephares.
Tell me your dream then, Toppanor.
I too was in my dream, and here there were 3 baskets of white bread upon my head. And in the topmost basket there were all sorts of eatables for Pharaoh, the product of a baker. And there were fowls eating them out of the basket on top of my head. Why do you shake your head, Joseph? Tell me, what is the meaning of my dream? Am I also to be released? Quickly, tell me the meaning of my dream.
Very well. This is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days from now, Pharaoh will lift up your head from off you and will certainly hang you upon a stake.
Oh,
And the fowls will certainly eat your flesh from off you.
woe is me! I am a man undone. Oh, that this day should ever come upon me, that I should ever be brought down to ruin, and through no sin of my own. Are you sure, Joseph? Can you not give me, too, a good interpretation of my dream?
Does not interpretation belong to Jehovah? He it is that has revealed the meaning of your dream. It is Jehovah's word.
Oh.
The time moves on a further 2 years. Now Onepheres, the cupbearer of Pharaoh, is about to serve his lord.
Onepheres, my faithful cupbearer, bring me wine.
At once, O mighty Pharaoh.
The gods have forsaken the magic-practicing priests and the wise men of Egypt. My counselors have lost their cunning, for a god mightier than theirs would bring me a message of great importance. O Onepheres, my cup. Here it is that I was dreaming, and it developed this morning that my spirit became agitated because of my dreams. So I sent and called all the magic-practicing priests of Egypt and all her wise men, and I went on to relate my dreams to them. But now there is no interpreter of them for Pharaoh.
My sins I'm mentioning today, my lord. 2 years ago already, Pharaoh was indignant at his servants, both me and the chief of the bakers. So he committed us to the jail of the house of the chief of the bodyguard.
And why do you speak of that now, Onepheres? You were pardoned and have been restored to my favor.
As you say, my lord, and it is of that very matter that I would speak. After we were in the prison house for some days, we both dreamed dreams in one night, both I and he. We dreamed each one his dream with its own interpretation. And there was with us there a young man, a servant of the chief of the bodyguard. When we related them to him, he proceeded to interpret our dreams to us.
Speak on, Onepheres. What was the interpretation of your dreams?
He interpreted to each according to his dream. And it turned out just as he interpreted to us. So it happened. Me, he returned to my office. But him, he hanged.
And who's this young man, Onepheres? Speak.
He is called by the name Joseph, my lord. And he is in the prison house of the chief of the bodyguard.
Guard, send and call Joseph. Have them bring him quickly from the prison hole.
At once, my lord.
Now tell me, Onepheres, who is this young man, Joseph, of whom you speak? And where is he from? And for what crime was he put into the prison house?
He is a Hebrew, my lord.
A Hebrew?
Yes, my lord. He was kidnapped from the land of Canaan, and he was brought into the land by a caravan of Ishmaelite and Midianite merchants who sold him to Potiphar, the chief of the bodyguard.
A slave?
Yes, he is a worshiper of the God Jehovah, and his God has proved to be with him so that he turned out to be a successful man. And Joseph indeed grew to be beautiful in form and beautiful in appearance.
But why was he in prison?
Then it was, my lord, that the wife of his master began to raise her eyes towards Joseph and say, "Lie down with me."
Potiphar's wife with this Hebrew slave?
Yes, my lord. But he would refuse and would say to his master's wife, "Here my master does not know what is with me in the house, and everything he has given into my hand. There is no one greater in this house than I am, and he has not withheld from me anything at all except you, because you are his wife. So how could I commit this great badness and actually sin against God?"
Is such an upright spirit to be found in all Egypt?
Even so, my lord. So it turned out that as she spoke to Joseph day after day, he never listened to her to lie alongside her, to continue with her.
Yes, and if reason then?
And then it happened
that on this day, as other days, he went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there in the house. Then she grabbed hold of him by his garment, but Joseph left his garment in her hand and took to flight and went on outside.
A remarkable young man.
Indeed so, my lord. So it occurred that when his master came to his house, his wife accused Joseph before Potiphar, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came to me to make me a laughingstock." But it followed that as soon as I raised my voice and began to cry out, he then left his garment beside me and went fleeing outside.
Now, did Potiphar believe this story?
The result was that as soon as his master heard the words of his wife, his anger blazed. So he took Joseph and gave him over to the prison house, the place where the prisoners of the king are kept under arrest. And he has continued there in the prison house down to this day.
You are certain of these matters, Onesiphorus?
As I live, my lord, this is the truth. All of the servants in the house of Potiphar have only good to say concerning Joseph. He is a good and honest man, one full of mercy and loving kindness.
But is his God still with him?
Yes, my lord. And now that he has been put in the prison house, the chief officer has given over to Joseph's hand all the prisoners, because Jehovah is with Joseph. And what he is doing, Jehovah is making it turn out successful.
The Spirit of Jehovah must indeed be in this young Hebrew, Onesiphorus. But look now, how long a time it's been? It must be surely that Joseph has arrived. Guard, has Joseph arrived as yet?
I'm certain I hear them bringing him even now into the palace of the king.
Then bring him in at once. I will speak with him now.
Yes, my lord.
Come here, Joseph. I would speak with you.
As you say, my lord.
Are you Joseph, the young Hebrew, the servant of the chief of the bodyguard, one who was sold to him by Ishmaelite traders from Canaan?
Even so, my lord. And I am now being detained in the prison house of the chief of the bodyguard, though I have done nothing at all for which they should put me into the prison hole.
We'll see to that in a moment, Joseph. But now I have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And I myself have heard it said about you that you can hear a dream and interpret it.
I need not be considered. God will announce welfare to Pharaoh.
Very well. Here then is my dream. In my dream, here I was standing on the bank of the river Nile. And here ascending out of the river Nile were 7 cows, fat-fleshed and beautiful in form. And they began to feed among the Nile grass. And here there were 7 other cows ascending after them, poor, very bad in form and thin-fleshed. For badness I have not seen the like of them in all the land of Egypt. And the skinny and bad cows began to eat up the first 7 fat cows, so that these came into their bellies, and yet it could not be known that they had come into their bellies, as their appearance was bad, just as at the start. At that I woke up. After that I saw in my dream, and here there were 7 ears of grain coming up on one stalk, full and good. And here there were 7 ears of grain, shriveled, thin, scorched by the east wind growing up after them. And the thin ears of grain began to swallow up the 7 good ears of grain. These are the dreams that I've dreamed. So I stated them to the magic practicing priests, but there was none telling me. Speak now, Joseph. What is the interpretation?
The dream of Pharaoh is but one. What the true God is doing, he has told to Pharaoh. The 7 good cows are 7 years. Likewise, the 7 good ears of grain are 7 years. The dream is but one. And the 7 skinny and bad cows that come after them are years. And the 7 empty ears of grain, scorched by the east wind, will prove to be 7 years of famine.
7 years of plenty and of famine?
This is the thing that I have spoken to Pharaoh. What the true God is doing, he has caused Pharaoh to see. Here there are 7 years coming with great plenty in all the land of Egypt. But 7 years of famine will certainly rise after them. And all the plenty in the land of Egypt will certainly be forgotten. And the famine will simply consume the land. And the plenty once in the land will not be known as a result of that famine afterward, because it will certainly be very severe. And the fact that the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice means that the thing is firmly established on the part of the true God, and the true God is speeding to do it.
Oh, my disquieted soul! These words bear witness that my dreams were of evil import. How now shall we escape this dread calamity? Joseph, has your God no word for us?
He has indeed, O king. Jehovah the true God gives to Pharaoh an answer of peace.
And what is that word, Joseph?
Let Pharaoh look for a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh act, and appoint overseers over the land. And he must take up 1/5 of the land of Egypt during the 7 years of plenty. And let them collect all the foodstuffs of these coming good years, and let them pile up grain under Pharaoh's hand as foodstuffs in the cities. And they must safeguard it. And the foodstuffs must serve as a supply for the land for the 7 famine years, which will develop in the land of Egypt, in order that the land may not be cut off by the famine.
Your wisdom is the wisdom of the true God. So shall it be. And now can another man be found like this one in whom the Spirit of God is? Since God has caused you to know all this, there is no one as discreet and wise as you are. You will personally be over my house, and all my people will obey you implicitly. Only as to the throne shall I be greater than you. See, I do place you over all the land of Egypt. Bring out the garments of fine linen and place a necklace of gold about his neck. Let him ride in the 2nd chariot of honor, so that they should call out ahead of him, Avrek, and thus he will be over all the land of Egypt. I am Pharaoh, Joseph, but without your authorization, no man may lift up his hand or his foot in all the land of Egypt. Henceforth your name will be Zephanath-Paneah, and you shall have as wife Asenath, the daughter of the priest of On. Go now, Joseph, and see to it, even as your God has revealed it to you. And may Jehovah your God be with us all because of you.
Time moves on for another 9 years. We take up the account in Joseph's quarters.
Has the famine then reached even to your lands? As far as the lands of the great river, and even beyond the mountains.
We too have suffered from the famine. Only for our horses is there a little grass, but for our people there is no grain at all.
Is it indeed true that there is food in the land of Egypt? We have come this long distance in order that our people may not die off.
Even so. But there are cereals in Egypt because of Zephanath-Paneah and the god he worships.
Zephanath-Paneah? Who's this one?
Well, he's the one whom Pharaoh has put over all the land of Egypt. It is only 2 years now that the famine has afflicted Egypt. But during the 7 years of plenty that had preceded the famine, the land went on producing by the handfuls. And during the 7 years of plenty, he proceeded to collect all the foodstuffs that came upon the land of Egypt. And he continued piling up grain in very great quantity, like the sand of the sea, until finally we gave up counting it because it was without number. Finally, the 7 years of plenty that obtained in the land of Egypt gradually ended. And in turn, the famine has started to come, just as Zaphanath-Paneah has said.
This man, then, is he a prophet?
It is his God that has revealed it to him. And he's even said that there's going to be 7 years of famine throughout all the earth.
7 years! And already our people are starving.
It is even as Zaphanath-Paneah foretold. So Zaphanath-Paneah has begun to open up all the grain depositories that are here among us, and he's begun to sell to the Egyptians. And even those from all the earth, like yourselves, have come to buy cereals from Egypt.
How then are we to obtain grain for our people?
And how do we know this man will deal kindly with us and respect our petition?
Well, Zaphanath-Paneah is the man in power over the land. But he's a merciful and a compassionate man, as a father of fatherless boys and as a judge of widows. And he's the one that does the selling to all the people of the earth. It is to him that you must make your petition. Come this way. I see more strangers have arrived in Egypt. And are you two here to purchase grain from the Egyptians?
It is even so. The famine has become severe throughout all the land of Canaan. We are 10 brothers, and when our people began to lack for food, our father said to us, "Why do you keep looking at one another? Here I have heard that there are cereals in Egypt. Go down there and buy for us from there, that we may keep alive and not die off."
Kekanan midir getachen, negib legazu. You're spies. You've come to see the exposed condition of the land.
No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy foodstuffs. We are all of us sons of one man. We are upright men. Your servants do not act as spies.
Ayudalam getachen. Inya hulachen yande sole jotnim. Inya knotnim. Gubenyot ayihonem.
I tell him. Yagadim the count. The Malakat Metachuel indeed.
Not so, because you have come to see the exposed condition of the land.
Your servants are all brothers, my lord. We are the sons of but one man in the land of Canaan.
Barotu hulu wanda mamochnen getachen. Yandu sol the George Bukanian midernin. Is your father yet alive?
Your slave, our father, indeed lives, my lord.
You are but 10 brothers? There are no others?
Your servants are 12 brothers, my lord. We're the sons of but one man in the land of Canaan. And here the youngest is with our father today, whereas the other one is no more.
It is what I have spoken to you, saying, you are spies. By this you will be tested out. As Pharaoh lives, you will not go out of here, except when your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you that he may get your brother while you have been bound, that your words may be tested out as the truth in your case. And if not, then as Pharaoh lives, you are spies. Enough. You will be bound, put together in custody for 3 days. After that, the lord of the country will see you again.
I have never seen our Lord so disturbed as he's been these past 3 days over the 10 brothers from the land of Canaan.
Have you ever seen him deal so harshly with anyone?
He, the one who is always so kindly and understanding.
Why is it you suppose that he refuses to speak to them in his own language? It
It's almost as if he wished to make himself unrecognizable to them.
He, too, is a Hebrew and from the land of Canaan.
Is it possible that he may have some knowledge of them? And that is why...
Remember, he is a worshiper of the true God, the one in whom the Spirit of God is. No one is as discreet and wise as he is.
Even so, but it is almost as though he cared resentment against these men from the land of Canaan.
Still, he has treated them kindly enough these past 3 days while they were in custody.
I myself have personally been instructed to see that they're well provided for. But come. Our master will soon be here. And you can be certain that whatever it is, our master has good reason for the way he's acting toward them.
Have the men from Canaan brought before me.
At once, my lord. They're waiting outside.
Then bring them in. I would have words with them.
As you say, my lord.
Ask them if they are ready to confess to their being spies.
As you say, my lord. What do you men now say? After your 3 days of confinement, do you admit to being spies?
Not so, my lord. It is just as we have told you. We are all of us sons of but one man. We are upright men. So may Jehovah the true God do to us, and so may he add to it, if your servants do indeed act as spies.
Ienege, aderegu atemotem. Ene, agzeave referaru. Dahanut suut kuhonachu, kulantun wondumachu. Itasu bukusutachubet. Kulantum, hidu. Tanashunem wadamachun wadune yizachahut.
Do this then, and keep alive. I fear the true God. If you are upright, let one of your brothers be kept bound in your house of custody, but the rest of you go. Take cereals for the famine in your houses, and for your aged father, that you may keep alive and not die off. Then you will bring your youngest brother to me, that your words may be found trustworthy, and you will not die. Thus I may know that you are no spies, but you are upright. Your brother I shall give back to you, and you may carry on business in the land.
What is this that God has done to us? Brother, you hear how this brother speaks to us, and will not understand it. What are we to do?
We cannot carry this message to our ancient father, nor can we bring Benjamin down here to Egypt.
So the loss of Benjamin would bring him down to Sheol. It is because of Joseph, that this calamity has come upon us all. Unquestionably, we are guilty with regard to our brother, because we saw the distress of his soul when he implored compassion on our part. But we did not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us. Did I not say to you, brothers, do not sin against the child? But you did not listen. And now his blood, here it is certainly asked back. God, what will our future?
This one is to be bound and kept in custody. You men, bind him and take him away.
Oh no! What are you doing? See my brothers? They're taking Simeon away! Simeon.
Fill up their receptacles with grain. Also, you're to return the money of each man to his own individual sack. Then you're to give them provisions for the journey. See that the cereals are loaded upon their asses, that they're still on their way from here.
It shall be done, just as you say, my lord.
Yihin simuanatu tunkuk, vitenatayu, temash wandu machu, kulant garakahone.
Hear this, and listen carefully. You must not see my face again, unless your brother is with you.
We have finished eating up the cereals that you have brought from Egypt, and now return. buy a little food for us, Judah.
You know my father. The man who is lord of the country unmistakably bore witness to us, saying, "You must not see my face again unless your brother is with you." If you are sending our brother with us, we are willing to go down and buy food for you. But if you are not sending him, we shall not go down, because the man did say to us, "You must not see my face again unless your brother is with you."
It is even so, our Father.
We were detention the man's custody.
Why did you have to do harm to me by telling the man you had another brother?
The man directly inquired concerning us and our relatives, saying, "Is your father yet alive? Do you have another brother?" And we went on to tell him according to these facts. How could we know for certain that he would say, "Bring your brother down"?
How indeed could we know? It's been known to happen.
It is I you have bereaved. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and Benjamin you're going to take. It is upon me that all these things have come.
My own 2 sons you may put to death if I do not bring him back to you. Give him over to my care, and I shall be the one to return him to you.
You speak rashly, Reuben, like waters bursting forth without thought of the consequences. My son will not go down with you men, because his brother is dead, and he has been left by himself. If a fatal accident should befall him on the way on which you would go, then you would certainly bring down my gray hairs with grief to Sheol.
Do not let your heart be troubled, my father. I do not fear to go. I will be with my brothers, and in this way we shall prove to the man that we are indeed upright men and not spies, and that we fear the true God. Why should I remain here in security, only to see you and all our little ones perish by the famine? Should we not trust in Jehovah to grant us to find favor in the eyes of the man who is Lord of Egypt? In this way, surely we'll keep on living and not die.
Benjamin, my son, my son.
Send the boy with me, my father, that we may get up and go, and that we may keep alive and not die off. Both we and you and our little children. I shall be the one to be surety for him. Out of my hand you may exact penalty for him. If I fail to bring him to you and to present him to you, then I shall have sinned against you for all time. But if we had not lingered around, we should by now have been there and back these 2 times. Is it but a little thing that all of us have found each one his bundle of money in his sack, and now you would ask us to return, although the Lord of the country has said, "You must not see my face again unless your brother is with you"?
If then that is the case, do this. Take the finest products of the land in your receptacles and carry them down to the man as a gift. A little balsam and a little honey, labdanum and resinous bark, pistachio nuts and almonds. Also take double the money in your hand, and the money that was returned in the mouth of your bags you will take back in your hand. Maybe it was a mistake. And take your brother and get up. Return to the man. And may God Almighty give you pity before the man, that he may certainly release to you your other brother, and Benjamin. But in case I must be bereaved, I shall certainly be bereaved.
We now move back to Egypt and to Joseph's house.
Why is it that we've been brought to the house of the Lord of the country? Can we not do business with him as you did formerly?
It is strange. But when we went to the place, we were told by the man in charge that the Lord of the country would have us come to his house, that he was to slaughter animals and make preparation, because we are to eat with him at noon.
It's a plot. He has evil designs against
It
us.
is because of the money that went back with us in our bags at the start that we're being brought here. For them to fall upon us and attack us and to take us for slaves. And also our
May Jehovah have mercy.
But my brothers, is it not so that when we arrived, the man in charge of the house gave us water that we might wash our feet? And has he not also given fodder for our asses?
Even so. Perhaps we can speak first to the man in charge of the house and tell him we've brought back the money that was returned to us. Perhaps he will put in a word for us to the man who is Lord of the country. Excuse us, my lord. We surely did come down at the start to buy food. But what occurred was that when we came to the lodging place and began opening our bags, why, here was the money of each one in the mouth of his bag, our money in full weight. So we would like to return it with our own hands. And more money we have brought down in our hands to buy food. We certainly do not know who placed our money in our bags.
It is all right with you. Do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your fathers gave you treasure in your bags. Be assured your money came first to me. It's all right. And see now, here's your brother. Ah, my brother.
Simeon.
My brother.
Did they keep you in the prison house? Treat you well? Did you have
Were you mistreated at all?
But Simeon, tell us, please, how does the Lord of the country feel toward us?
Is he still angry?
Why do you think he's brought us here to his house?
Are we to have a meal with him, or will he fall upon us and make us all
I do
slaves?
not know, my brothers. I do not know. All I know is that I was in the prison, and now I am released and am here with you. May Jehovah do to us according to his own pleasure.
How could you are alive?
Levi, how is our father Israel?
Judah, this may be an evidence of goodwill on the part of the Lord of the country. Indeed. Perhaps now that Benjamin is with us, the Lord of the country will deal kindly with us. Look, there's the man now. See, my Lord, we have returned, and we have brought you gifts. Our land is starving, even as yours is. But we do have balsam, and honey, and labdanum, and resinous bark, pistachio nuts, and almonds. We have brought them to you as a gift from our Father, who wishes you well, and prays that you may have peace.
Is your father, the aged man of whom you have spoken, getting along well? Is he still alive?
Your servant, our father, is getting along well. He is still alive.
Is this your brother, the youngest one of whom you have spoken to me?
It is, my lord.
And what is your name, my son?
Your servant was called by my mother as she gave birth to me, Benoni. But I am called Benjamin by your servant, my father.
You had another brother? One who is no longer with you? Did you know him?
Yes, my lord. He was my own brother. From the same womb we came forth. I was but a child when he died, but I loved him dearly. Even as did our aged father.
And how did your brother die, Benjamin?
He was torn by a wild animal, my lord.
Did you witness his death?
No, my lord. But he wore a long, striped, shirt-like garment that our father had made for him. And on this occasion, our 10 brothers, the servants whom my lord has here before him, brought the long garment to our father, and it was stained with blood. And they said to our father, "This is what we have found. Examine, please, whether it's your son's long garment or not." And he went examining it and exclaimed, "It is my son's long garment. A vicious wild beast must have devoured him. Joseph is surely torn to pieces." With that, Jacob, our father, ripped his mantles apart and put sackcloth upon his hips and carried on mourning over his son for many days. And all his sons and all his daughters kept rising up to comfort him, but he kept refusing to take comfort and saying, "For I shall go down mourning to my son into Sheol." And our father continues to weep for him, my lord, though these many years have passed.
God on our fathers. May Jehovah, the God of our fathers, have mercy on us.
May God show you his favor, my son. Take these men out, that they may be prepared, and then set on the meal.
Jehovah, show us mercy. Forgive us. Oh, Benjamin, my brother, the darling of our dear mother Rachel, and Israel our father. What is this that Jehovah has done for us in bringing me here into Egypt? How I have longed to see you and our father Israel. Oh, how I know his heart must have ached, believing I am dead, and now parting with you. Oh, my brother, how I have longed to see you. And now Jehovah has brought you back to me. He has brought us together again. How my heart yearns for you and our father Israel, that I might see him again. But how am I to know what I must do in this matter? How am I to know whether the sin that our brothers have committed against Jehovah and against our father Israel has been forgiven by our God? May Jehovah grant me the wisdom to search their hearts through.
Everything is prepared for the meal, my lord. The men are seated at the table before you, just as you directed. The firstborn according to his right is firstborn, and the youngest according to his youngness. And the men keep looking at one another in amazement, wondering, even as we do, at the wisdom which has enabled you to observe them with such keen discernment. It must be your God who has revealed these things to you.
Let your mind be at rest. Here now is what I would have you do. When we're seated at the table, I would have you carry portions from before me to them. But I would have you increase the portion of the youngest one 5 times the size of the other's portions. And so we will banquet together and drink to the full.
As you say, my master.
Then, when we finished, I would have you fill the bags of the men with food to the extent they're able to carry it, and place the money of each one in the mouth of his bag. But you must place my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the bag of the youngest, and the money for his cereals.
Your silver cup, my lord?
Even so. Do as I've commanded you.
It shall be done, just as you've said, my lord.
We take up the account now with the sons returning back to their land with their sacks of grain.
ourselves all, son. Then we'll continue on our journey.
Little rest.
How pleased and happy our father Israel will be to see you home again, Benjamin. And what a joy it is to us to know that you are safe, and you too, Simeon.
Little did we think when we came down this time, Major, that our way would be made so easy for us. Did you see the way in which the lord of the country treated our youngest brother, Benjamin? Why, the portions he received were 5 times the size of ours.
It is good, my brother. But here, I'll sit on this rock here and rest for a moment.
A little rest will feel good.
Issachar, bring my bag, please, and set it over here by my side.
As you say, Judah. Look, a chariot. It's an Egyptian chariot. What? It's approaching us.
He's going to stop here.
It's the attendant of the lord of the country.
What could he want?
What's happened now? I have overtaken you here. It's good that you've stopped to rest. For now I can deliver to you the message my lord has sent to you.
Speak, we are listening.
This is what my lord would have me say to you. Why have you men repaid bad for good? Why have you stolen the silver cup of my lord? Is this not the thing my master drinks from, and by means of which he expertly reads omens? It is a bad deed you have committed.
Why does my lord speak with such words as these? It is unthinkable that your servant should do anything like this. Why, the money that we found in the mouth of our bags, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan.
That's right.
How then could we steal silver or gold from the house of your master? Let the one of your slaves with whom it may be found die, and let us also ourselves become slaves to my master.
Let it be now exactly according to your words. Thus the one with whom it may be found will become a slave to my lord. But you yourselves will be proved innocent. Here, all of you, bring your bags. Here, you, the firstborn, open your bag.
It's my bundle of money. It is again buried in the mouth of my sack.
It is good that my master has done to you, returning your money as he has at the first. It's a gift of Pharaoh. But why have you returned bad for good, seeing that you have stolen my master's silver cup?
Please, my lord, we have not stolen from your master. It is silver or gold. Look, please, examine in all of the bags.
You, the second, open your bag. As you say, my lord. Your money is here also, and nothing more.
No, my lord, I would take nothing from my master. Nothing at all.
Nothing but the money.
Even so, my lord.
Aha, the same.
Is it not as we have said to you, my lord?
No cup, just the money.
We're honest men, my lord.
Your money only. Your master must be mistaken, lord. Still nothing but the money.
We would not steal, my lord.
Nothing but your money.
Even so, my lord, as we said, we're honest men.
Your money, too. That's all. We're not thieves, my lord.
No.
Still no cup. But your money's here.
We would not bring dishonor on our father's name.
You're the youngest. Open, please, your bag.
As you request, my lord.
Oh, your money's here. But, look. See, even as my master said, here's the cup that belongs to my master.
Benjamin, how is this possible?
An enemy has done this.
Have mercy on the boy, my lord. Have mercy on him.
Oh, my brother, my brother. What is this that has happened to us? What now is to become of our father Israel? Surely his gray hairs will come down to Sheol and grief. He will surely die of grief.
Come now. Load up your beasts. You must answer to the Lord of the land of Egypt for this bad deed.
So now we return to Joseph's house.
Ye
Mihin yader gacha hutu negervendero.
What sort of deed is this that you have done? Did you not know that such a man as I am can expertly read omens?
What can we say to my master? What can we speak? And how can we prove ourselves righteous? The true God has found out the error of your slaves. Here we are, slaves to my master, both we and the one in whose hand the cup was found.
Min enigmela salin, vegetachin. Mins inainar guralin, waste by min suanetetachin, uanetetenya, ernadjugalin. Inya lagetacho, barochnin. Inya sawam kuruzin yetagenya petu degmo.
Ayi honli yam yihin aderig. Zuwaum yetigin yabetu so, ersu bare yayi honin.
It is unthinkable for me to do this. The man in whose hand the cup was found is the one who will become a slave to me. As for the rest of you, go up in peace to your father.
I pray you, my master, please, let your slave speak a word in the hearing of my master. And do not let your anger grow hot against your slave, because it is the same with you as with Pharaoh. My master asked his slave, saying, do you have a father or a brother? So he said to my master, we do have an aged father and a child of his old age, the youngest, but his brother is dead, so that he alone is left of his mother, and his father does love him. After that you said to your slaves, bring him down to me, that I may set my eye upon him. But we said to my master, the boy is not able to leave his father. If he did leave his father, he would certainly die. Then you said to your slaves, unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you may not see my face anymore. And it came about that we went up to your slave, my father, and told him the words of my master. Later, our father said, return, buy a little food for us. But we said, we are not able to go down, because we are not able to see the man's face, in case our youngest brother is not with us. Then your slave, my father, said to us, you yourselves well know that my wife bore but 2 sons to me. Later, the one went out from my company, and I exclaimed, ah, he must surely be torn to pieces. And I have not seen him till now. If you were to take this one also out of my sight, and a fatal accident were to befall him, you would certainly bring down my gray hairs with calamity to Sheol. And now, as soon as I should come to your slave, my father, without the boy along with us, when that one's soul is bound up with this one's soul, then it is certain to occur that as soon as he sees the boy is not there, he will simply die. And your slaves will indeed bring down the gray hairs of your slave, our father, with grief to Sheol. For your slave became surety for the boy when away from his father, saying, if I fail to bring him back to you, then I shall have sinned against my father forever. So now, please, let your slave stay instead of the boy as a slave to my master, that the boy may go up with his brothers. For how can I go up to my father without the boy along with me? For fear that then I may look upon calamity that will find out my father.
Have everybody go out for me.
I can bear no more. Do you not know who I am?
Listen, he speaks our language.
Look, I am Joseph. See, I am your brother.
Did he say Joseph, this Egyptian?
I have known you from the first.
It is the voice of Joseph.
Tell me, please, is my father still alive? Come close to me, please. Do you continue to doubt? See, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt.
Now, what will become of us?
Surely Jehovah's judgment has come back upon our own heads.
Now Jehovah will do to us through Joseph what we tried to do.
Do not hold back in fear, my brothers, for has Jehovah not brought us together again?
Oh, Benjamin, my brother, you have been restored to me at last. Joseph, my own brother, never did I hope to see you alive. Look, Judah, Reuben, Dad, it is Joseph. This our brother was dead, and he's come to life again.
I beseech you now, Joseph, pardon, please, the revolt of the servants of your father's God, and our sin in that we have rendered evil to you.
Please do not harbor resentment against us, because we are as slaves to you.
Do not be afraid, my brothers, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you had evil in mind against me. But now, do not feel hurt. Do not be angry with yourselves because you sold me here. Because for the preservation of life, God has sent me ahead of you. For this is the 2nd year of the famine in the midst of the earth. And there are yet 5 years in which there will be no plowing time or harvest. Consequently, God sent me ahead of you in order to place a remnant for you men in the earth and to keep you alive by a great escape. So now, it was not you who sent me here, but it was the true God, that he might appoint me a father to Pharaoh and a lord for all his house, and as one dominating over all the land of Egypt.
Jehovah has indeed been good to you, my brother, because you are clean in heart. As for us, our feet were turned aside, and our steps had been made to slip. For we became envious of the prosperity Jehovah had showered upon you. Haughtiness became as a necklace to us, and violence enveloped us as a garment. May Jehovah be praised for not casting us off forever, that our sins may be pardoned, and that in his mercy and loving kindness he raises up the lowly ones from the very dust.
Though your enemies were of your own household, Joseph, yet your dwelling place has been secure in Jehovah.
May your bow continue dwelling in a permanent place,
And
Joseph.
may the strength of your hands be the strength of Jehovah.
And now, my brothers, go up quickly to my father, and you must say to him, this is what your son Joseph has said. God has appointed me Lord for all Egypt. Come down to me, do not delay. And you must dwell in the land of Goshen, and you must continue near me, You and your sons and the sons of your sons and your flocks and your herds and everything you have. And I will supply you with food there, for there are yet 5 years of famine, for fear you and your house and everything you have may come to poverty. So go, quickly, and do not get exasperated at one another on the way. And here, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin are seeing that it is my mouth that is speaking to you. So you must tell my father about all my glory in Egypt, and everything you have seen. And you must hurry and bring my father down here to me, that we may be united once more. And may Jehovah go with you and keep you safe until you return.
And they began going up out of Egypt, and at length came into the land of Canaan, to Jacob, their father. Then they reported to him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and he is the one dominating over all the land of Egypt. But his heart grew numb, because he did not believe them. When they went on speaking to him all of Joseph's words that he had spoken to them, and he got to see the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father began to revive. Then Israel exclaimed, It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. Ah, let me go and see him before I die. How could anyone read an account like that and not be moved by it? Here, Mary, I think you could use my handkerchief.
Thanks, John. I think that's one of the most touching stories in the Bible.
Well, somehow it seems to kind of make our own problems seem small. Doesn't it, Dad?
Yes, in a way it does, Tommy. But it seems to me that this account of Joseph and his brothers is just what our family needs in this situation we're facing right now. Did you select this portion of the Bible to be read on purpose, Tommy?
Well, sort of. You see, I remember a public talk Brother Shepherd gave a few months ago, and it changed my whole attitude toward Terry and the trouble we had.
I think I know the talk you mean. It was on mercy, wasn't it?
Yes.
But what was it particularly that you had in mind?
Brother Shepherd said that when someone has done wrong to us, or even if we think someone has wronged us, we ought to compare our situation with that of Joseph and consider how merciful he was.
I remember.
Well, I came home that night and read the whole account of Joseph and his brothers. And then I realized how resentful I'd been feeling toward Terry. But the more I thought about Joseph and his brothers, well, I just couldn't feel that way anymore.
And that's why you thought it would be good for us to read it together as a family.
That was part of it, but there was something else. After I got over that feeling of resentment, I began to appreciate something else that Brother Shepherd talked about.
What was that, Tommy?
He said that mercy relates primarily to the compassion you express toward those in difficulty, in need, or at some disadvantage. And it dawned on me that this showing of mercy isn't just a negative thing. It isn't something to show just when someone else has done wrong to you.
Yes, I remember that point.
Brother Shepherd explained that Jesus showed mercy to people by doing kind things for them. He wasn't forgiving them for some wrong they'd done to him, but he could see that they were in difficult situations and needed help. By doing something to help them, he was showing mercy. He cared about other people, and he showed it. That's the way Joseph felt toward Benjamin, too. Benjamin hadn't done him any wrong, but Joseph had deep affection and merciful concern for his brother, and that's why his emotions were so stirred up when he saw him. And I realized that if I had been showing that kind of mercy, well, maybe Terry would have never felt the way he did toward me. Maybe he never would have left home, and, well, I wished I could have the opportunity to try again.
I'm afraid I didn't apply Brother Shepherd's talk as effectively as you did, Tommy. At least not at the time. But now that we've read the account of Joseph together, this is the time to do something about it, isn't it? We can't ignore it. Jehovah had these things recorded as examples for us. How are we going to benefit from it as a family?
What do you have in mind, John? Tommy's forgiven Terry, and I've certainly never felt any resentment toward Terry. And Terry is the one in need, the one at a disadvantage.
I can understand how you feel, Mary. And I can't blame you for thinking that I'm the one that really needs the lesson. And I don't intend to leave myself out. But before we go into that, let's talk about your viewpoint for a moment, Mary.
Mine? Why, you've always criticized me for exercising mercy.
Not exercising it, Mary. Abusing it.
Abusing it? How can you overdo mercy? It's like overdoing love.
Do you really think so, Mary? Let's see. Tommy, would you bring me my notebook out of my briefcase over there, please?
Sure, Dad.
I remember something in Brother Shepherd's talk on mercy that I think is beginning to mean a lot more to me now. I took some notes on his talk, and if I remember correctly, there's a scripture text he used that might answer your question. Yes, here it is. Would you look up Exodus 34, verses 6 and 7, please? He used several texts, but this one should do.
Exodus 34, 6 and 7. And Jehovah, a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness for thousands, pardoning error and transgression and sin, but by no means will he give exemption from punishment. What you're saying is, Terry would need punishing, and I'd never do it. But John...
Now, Mary, you know the Bible says, for whom Jehovah loves, he disciplines. In fact, he scourges everyone whom he receives as a son. Tell me, honestly, Mary, can you think of just one time that you ever disciplined Terry?
Well, but you've always been so stern, and everyone has always been so critical of Terry. Someone has to show him a little love.
But look, dear, Paul wrote the Hebrews that Jehovah shows his love towards his son by disciplining them, not coddling or excusing them. If you insist on being permissive with Terry, as you have been, well, you know what the Proverbs say will happen to the son who isn't disciplined.
Oh, you mean I haven't been showing Terry the love I thought I was, because I'd never correct him?
That's right.
But where does the mercy come in then, Dad? Where's all this bit about compassion and merciful concern for the one at a disadvantage? I certainly never saw any of it.
Why were you at a disadvantage, son? Any more than anyone else?
You were certainly never willing to stand up for me or help me out. But you'd tell me I had to be like Tommy. Just because I like to wear my hair a little longer than some of the others. Every time I used to go to the Kingdom Hall, someone would come up and make some smart remark, like, when's the last time you went to the barber shop? Or, when's your dad going to buy you a dog license? And some of them would even pull on my hair and say, it's getting kind of long there, isn't it, Terry? It made me feel bad. It really hurt. But when I tried to talk to you about it, you'd jump on me even worse than they did.
I'm afraid you're right, son. That's a subject we never could discuss quietly. But let's talk about it now for a moment. Who put you in this position of disadvantage? At the Kingdom Hall, I mean.
Oh, I can't see why I should be blamed. If I cut my hair short, then all the kids at school would have mocked me out, accused me of being weird or something.
All right, Terry. Now, let's see where that reasoning takes us. If you didn't think that I, or the brothers at the hall, should criticize you for wearing your hair long, why was it all right for the kids at school to criticize you if you cut it short? Think about it for a moment, son. Who are you more concerned with pleasing, anyway? Your mother and me, and your Christian brothers, or the kids at school who have no love for Jehovah?
I never thought of it that way. But you never said anything like that before.
I know. And I'm sorry, son. I never meant to speak so sharply to you. And
And I never meant to hold up Tommy as an example. That isn't really fair to either of you. And I'll admit it's not merciful or compassionate of the brothers to ridicule anyone for his views on dress or anything else. And especially someone who was as new as you were in the truth at that time. Of course, you were dedicated, weren't you? So don't you think all of us, especially your mother and me, might reasonably be looking for some changes? But the point I'd like to make with you is this. Do you think you were showing compassion or mercy toward Tommy by all those insinuations you were making about him?
Well, the brothers were awful quick to pick them up and exaggerate.
Yes, I'll admit some of them were hasty in condemning and inconsiderate in not overlooking your immaturity at the time, both yours and Tommy's. But you did say something, didn't you?
I just couldn't believe anybody could be as good as Tommy was always made out to be.
Do you think that justified you in making all those insinuations?
Oh, it didn't seem so bad at the time.
Perhaps not. But do you think you're entitled to mercy if you don't exercise mercy? You missed Brother Shepard's talk on mercy, and he said something you might appreciate. Would you look up James 2, verse 13, please?
Sure. Here's Hebrews. Is James before or after Hebrews?
Right after Hebrews.
Okay, chapter 2, verse 13. For the one that does not practice mercy will have his judgment without mercy. I guess that's plain enough, but I never would have thought that what I said about Tommy was a failure to practice mercy.
But you see it now, don't you? And that's the important thing. Now, Tommy, you said you were willing to forgive Terry, and that's a very fine spirit. I want to also. But there's one thing that makes my position a little different from yours.
What's that, Dad?
It's like it was with Joseph. You remember he was very willing to forgive his brothers, just like you're willing to forgive Terry. But Joseph couldn't just excuse them. What they'd done was a very serious thing. They'd planned to kill Joseph, and had actually represented it to their father that he was dead. They deliberately led their father to believe that, to his great grief. So, they had sinned against Jacob as well as Jehovah. Joseph couldn't overlook this. He had to establish grounds for mercy first. And he found such grounds when Judah showed their willingness to become slaves in the place of Benjamin. And why was he willing to do this? Did you notice?
I did. For the sake of their father, to spare him further suffering.
Yes. What a change in attitude of Joseph's brothers.
But I thought you just said it was all right for me to forgive Terry. You don't mean I'm supposed to make sure Terry is sorry for what he did before I forgive him?
No, not at all. You were right in forgiving him. Jesus said we should forgive our brother freely, and over again if necessary. We shouldn't hold an accounting against our brothers. Besides, judgment for failure to show repentance or to exercise mercy comes from God. And that's where my position is different from yours.
I don't understand.
Well, you see, in Joseph's case, he had to do what he did because he was Jehovah's representative. And that's the position I'm in. Now, Terry, I can forgive you for what you did to me, even to the family. And I want to, very much. I want you to come home and stay. But I can't excuse what you did. You must realize this and accept the responsibility I have in this matter. Brother Shepard made that quite plain to your mother and me when he spoke to Tommy 2 years ago. He made it plain, too, that if you were really responsible for all the talk that was going on, then you should be corrected because it would surely lead to even more serious wrongdoing. But you see, you just ran away from it all by leaving home.
I didn't expect everyone would take it so seriously. Just a few casual remarks. Then you jumped on me. It looked to me like I wasn't getting any place.
Well, son, you'll learn someday, if you haven't already, that you can't get any place by running away, by separating yourself from Jehovah's organization. But as I've already said, I feel partly to blame for that. I'm sure now I didn't know for certain why you left, but I should have. And if we'd had the relationship a father's supposed to have with his son, I'm